So this is Neil from PerfectSunLED.com. I'm going to be showing you guys how to germinate a seed with a 100% success rate. This is my personal way that I do it now. I'm going to be doing it on a hoverboard here. As you can see, I can fly around here and coast. So yeah, cool. I'm about to get an off-road hoverboard. Anyway, the main thing I'm going to be doing in this video that's different than the last video where I show how to do this is I'm going to show you some cool tips and tricks that I didn't show last time. So the first thing is you're going to need a Sharpie to write on your plastic baggie. That has to be a Ziploc baggie. And I wrote Pineapple Chunk there because that's what I'm going to be seeding here. Pineapple Chunk by Barney Farms. You'll need paper towel. Now depending on how many seeds you're going to do, I fold this in half and this is for one seed. You might be able to fit two in there, one on each side here and here. You just want them too close together. The most you want to put on a full paper towel when you fold it in half the long way, so it'd be fold in half this way, if it was a full paper towel, is 5. You can do 10, but when I do 10, I notice that sometimes one or two of them won't sprout. It's just they're too close together, so I recommend just doing 5. But if you need to, you can do 10 on one paper towel. Anyway, and then you need a paper bag for them to go inside of, and then finally put them inside of like some sort of homemade warm place. You want them to be right around 80 degrees ambient temperature for the fastest growth rate. Mine usually have full long tails on them within 2 or 3 days. And how I manage to accomplish that is by having 80 degrees. And you can just take a cardboard box, put a small little ceramic heater in there, and put it on low, and then you're going to have 80 degrees. No time, put a thermometer in there. Make sure you don't go too high. You don't want to fry your seeds. First thing we do is you take our paper towel. This is one of the tricks I want to show you. It's how to actually set the seed in the paper towel. It's super important. But we need to first put water on it. So make sure it's completely saturated. Make sure your hands are washed. After it's completely saturated, grab it all. Watch this. Squeeze it, a good squeeze, and get the water out of it. It just wants to be damp. Then we're going to come back over here with our cool hoverboard. I like doing shit on the hoverboard, it's fun. Once you get good at it, at least. Then you want to unfold it, which is pretty easy to do, like so. I keep it folded in half, and then you're going to set your seed inside. And this part right here is kind of important. When you set your seed inside, the sharp point of the seed is the part that the root comes out of. The rounder part of the seed is the part where the flower comes out of. So I like to face all my seeds in the same direction or stagger them in opposite directions. That way they don't grow into each other. Once you have the seed in the paper towel, you want to make sure that you just fold this top part in half this way. Now I make sure that the seed is facing up and down this way when you do that. So I'm going to do that now. Just look at it, make sure it is okay. So it's facing up and down this way, the point and flat end. If you have it sideways, your part of your seed is going to grow sideways this way, and you don't want that. You're going to run out of room, and it's going to go right into your towel. Pinch good around each seed so that there's no air gap. This is important because if there's an air gap, I'm going to fold the other side over as well. If there's an air gap, then the seed might not grow as well, or it might dry out, and part of it will die. You don't want that. Now you don't want to let it go too long, so check on them every day. I don't recommend the first day. At least wait 24 hours before you check on them, and you just want to make sure they have a decent side. I like to let them even already broke through the seedling. If the tail gets too long, it starts interweaving into the paper towel. When that happens, you have to carefully rip the paper towel and not to hurt the root system that has already developed. Otherwise, you're going to stun it, especially if it's an autoflower. This is the really important tip: is that you make sure there's no air gap in there when you smash this down. Then you can simply fold these parts over here just a little bit so it's easy to fit inside the paper, or excuse me, inside your Ziploc baggie. I like to label the baggies themselves. That way I can put a bunch of baggies in one single paper sack and not have to worry about labeling the paper sack for all the different strains, especially when we're doing a bunch of different strains. I like to put it into the plastic sack the appropriate direction that I'm going to have it growing, and I'm growing this way. I like to leave a little air in there because the roots will need air once they grow, and bam, and then you simply fold it in half, and now it's already labeled, know what it is. Put it in the paper sack, and then put it in your warm area. Again, I found a very cheap warm area is just a cardboard box. You can buy them at Walmart for super inexpensive, for like under $3. And then close it up and have a little bit of airflow at the top, and then put a small ceramic heater inside that you can get for about $20-30 at Walmart, and bam, you're done. In about 2 or 3 days from now, I'm going to have a nice seedling that I can then put inside rock wool. I take the rock wool and now I rip the rock wool in half after I soak it, Notice I just used regular old water, tap water. In this case, it was well water. There's no reason to use 5.8 water or anything like that. No special water is needed. I still get 100% success rate with just using regular old water. All it is moisture. That's it. It's a very little bit of moisture. Notice that I squeezed all that moisture out. That's super important. If you leave your paper towel too wet, you're guaranteed not to get 100% success rate. They just need a little bit of water in that paper towel, and they do awesome. Just a little bit of dampness is all they need to take off. Then, once you have your seedling, I take the rock wool and I soak it in 5.8 water, or 5.6 to 5.8, and I rip it in half, and I gently lay the seedling in there, put it back together, hold it, and then I put a hole, make a little wedge hole, and I can push it into my coco, and then bam, close it up. Now it's good to go and ready to grow, and the next day it already has 2 leaves on it, and then a couple days later it's already getting big and awesome. So that's pretty much, that's my tips on how to do it, and that's the entire process of how I get 100% success rate. Now, when I say 100% success rate, I mean that every seedling I grow from any strain, from any type of plant, watermelon, anything, corn, I will get 100% success rate. Now, the only time that doesn't happen is if I have a bunk seed. I have no control over that. It's very rare they get bunk seeds because I make sure I always get good seeds, like from Barney Farms and things like that. But there's still the occasional time where you'll get a bunk seed. One of my seeds from Barney Farms, the Liberty, or not, or the Laughing Buddha, 2 of them were bunk seeds, but that's like out of 30 over time, so it's really rare, and they just didn't have enough energy inside them to burst open. They were nice and soft and malleable, and when I smashed it open, I can tell they had that stuff inside that was ready to come out. It just wasn't strong enough, enough energy to really bust out. I mean, again, that's rare. So outside of bunk seeds, this will give you 100% success rate. Works every single time. It's so easy. It doesn't cause any stress to seeds as long as you do it, or to your seedlings as long as you do it correctly. This is the way I sprouted my seedlings for my biggest autos ever. So holding the world record for the biggest auto at 2.9 pounds dry weight, and then the second biggest recorded auto at 14.8 ounces. So yeah, autos are hard to get big, and people have been trying to beat those records, I think, and maybe hopefully someday they will. And house is kind of got some stuff in it. Got my cool little circuit there. My race cars are out there. Got my other little race car over there. Well, not race car, but little thing, my other Segway. I got some 4-wheel drive Segways coming. Those will be fun. But yeah, so that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching. Let's do some circles. Woo, on my Segway. All right. Double peace.